Live from South Carolina, we welcome race fans one and all back to Green Flag TV, where tonight we get set to kick off race number 5 in the L-TAC All-Street Media Cup Series. Welcome to the Palmetto 200 from the track Too Tough to Tame. The Darlington Raceway stands as one of NASCAR's oldest venues, remaining virtually unchanged in its 1.3-mile configuration for when this track first broke ground, and I can tell you right now, it is going to play host to one heck of a race here tonight. There is a lot of drivers that are going to be looking to see if they can put themselves up on the top of the timing sheets and on the top of the points sheets here tonight, as everybody looking set to go to war here at this amazing Darlington Raceway. We take a look at the championship order entering tonight's race. Ryan Dingler remains on the top, or he's taken over the top spot ahead of Austin Gassion and Mark Brannigan Jr. So Badger Racing showing that they can very much contend with the rest. Joseph dropping all the way back down, running in 7th after he did not make the race last week at the Charlotte Roval. So Dingler looking to try to stretch his points lead out here tonight. As I say that, looking like Dingler he is here tonight after all. So I thought for a moment Dingler wouldn't be making it. But nope, I do see him. He is at the moment just making his way out onto the track for qualifying. So we're looking to have ourselves, I believe it'll be a total of 23 cars that'll be making the start here tonight as we'll get set to get qualifying underway. I want to really quickly give a shout out to All Street Media, the title sponsor of the L-TAC Cup Series. All Street Media is a small media platform specializing photography and live streaming, mainly focused around no-prep drag racing, and soon will be expanding to dirt racing, NASCAR, superbike racing, and more. Their mission is to provide smaller racing venues with the opportunity for public exposure and to help keep small-town racing circuits and also small-town drivers doing the things that they love. You can find them more about them by visiting them on their Facebook page. Link can be found to that in the description of this live stream. So qualifying is underway as it is all getting ready to kick off over here from the Darlington Raceway, and there's a few drivers already looking to make moves around the racetrack, and we'll ride on board with the Eastern Stars Motorsports number 20 of Joseph as he shows you how qualifying's done at the Lady in Black. You can hear how much more wheel work is going into that car than at most tracks. You can hear the tires slipping as Joseph looking to wrangle that car under control. He sits provisional pole, almost a 10th clear of the number 2 run at the moment with Jeffrey Souza. Joseph sitting with a 29.139. There's a few drivers here looking to make some fresh starts, and among those, Jerry Bergeron making his first start in the L-TAC All-Street Media Cup Series here today. The series rookie driving that number 1 car. Currently sits 15th as he'll slide out of turn number 4. Not on a flying lap here. He is just looking to get himself a bit sorted and get some extra practice in. And, hey, may as well. You got the time to do so, as he's going to now take that tow down to pit road. But, again, it's a very loose track out here today, and a lot of drivers are mentioning that it's a loose setup that iRacing's got sorted for the race here in this one. It's cold track temp as well, only 84 degrees Fahrenheit on the track compared to the 82 in the air. So I think all of that is going to make this a fairly compelling race throughout. 15 cars out of the schedule, 22 or 23 or so have put down times, and qualifying will officially draw to a close. So, with all of that said and done, it's time to take a rundown of how your starting grid is going to line on up as we'll go racing for 150 laps, 200 miles here tonight from Darlington. Joseph is on the pole with Jeffrey Souza beside him on the front row. Holden McGill and Spencer Rabe will be back on row number 2. Oliver France and Grant Peterson on row 3. Ryan Diggler and Austin Gassione will be on row 4. Mark Brannigan Jr. and Barron Morton round out the top 10. Top half of the field is closed out by the likes of Matt Cherry and Devin Pirog. As we continue our roll through this field, you'll have Kyle Green, Josh McDougall, and Jerry Bergeron. The final 3 drivers put down qualifying laps. Drivers like Jeffrey Brogdon, Frank Flores, Steph Purcell, Nate Brooker, Sean Deal, Lauren McFadden, Nathaniel Ames, and Aaron Bradford, all opting not to put down lap times here in this one. So that is it then. Qualifying is complete. And with that, we'll take a rundown of your lucky draw here this time by, and it will be 13. So that will mean that your lucky car here in this one going to be the likes of Kyle Green in his number 18 Toyota Supra. So we'll see what the Busch Lives Matter machine can do as he'll look to take that 18 car around and try to put it up in victory lane. Historically, the winner of these lucky draws has not had the most success in the season, so not entirely confident as to what this will mean for us for the field throughout the racing here tonight. But we're just now waiting on looking like 2 drivers, Austin Gassione and Aaron Bradford, to grid on up before we'll get set to get race number 5 of the L-TAC All-Street Media Cup Series underway. Pace car will roll, and Aaron Bradford looking like he will not be making it to the call, so we'll be down to 22 for the first lap out. At the moment, that 20 car, as always, looking like he's going to be the man to beat. Holden McGill lined up behind him in the McGill Camper Camaro. A few cars breaking out some of the older throwback schemes, as we so often do here in Darlington. JoJo not going to be among them. So they'll take the Eastern Stars Motorsports Ryco setup shop. Ford Mustang around through turn numbers 3 and 4. We're happy that you're joining us here on this beautiful Friday night as we get set to go racing under the lights. The Palmetto 200 from the Darlington Raceway is underway. Out of the final corner, Joseph leads lap 1 to green. The whole field already tucked up single file as we thunder it down the turn numbers 1 and 2 for the second time tonight. No surprises here so far. We expected this race to single file out fairly quickly. This is not going to be a race with too much in the way of side-by-side action. This is all going to be about the strategy game and who can be aggressive enough quickly enough early on. Barron Morton to the inside of Kyle Green, bumps Green back down to 12th. Morton going to be now up into the 11th spot as he fires it down the front straight away. Driver that's lost the most by far has to be the rookie of Jerry Bergeron. Entered this race starting 15th. He is already down to stone dead last before the end of lap number 2. Trouble Austin Gassione sideways on the backstretch, and he has found the inside wall, and that left front is hurt. On the HendrickCars.com Chevrolet Camaro as he'll take that car to pit road. Not an ideal start for the number 5. We'll get a look on what happened to the 5 car of Austin Gassione as this was working off of turn 2. This is off turn 4 here. So we'll have to hang tough with this one for a little while as we'll see what happened to Gassion's number 5. Tracks up wide at 1 and 2, right up to the wall. All's normal here. Has he had help from behind? No, sir. Loops it on the back end. Finds the inside wall first with the tail and then the nose, and that's going to knock the toe out, effectively bringing an end to Gassion's ride. He is going to be back out of pit road and onto the racetrack, albeit now 1 lap down at risk of going down 2. JoJo continues to work out of turn numbers 3 and 4. Souza hot on his heels and looking to challenge down in the turn 1. Just behind, you got a battle as well as, whoa, boy, Connor LaFrance the inside of Grant Peterson. Making use of the apron here. They're going to find each other's doors as we work out of turn numbers 1 and 2 to the back stretch. So that sees an exchange in the battle for 4th. The fight for the lead still going nowhere as Souza following closely in Joseph's tire treads. Jerry Bergeron now finds himself into pit road early on. Could we see Bergeron? Bergeron's going to be calling it quits. And now Sean Deal low on the racetrack as something going awry with the number 44. Take a look. No damage that I see on Sean Deal's machine. He may have gotten loose and had to pedal it. Whoa, boy. Yes, sir. Got way loose in turn 2. Did a good job to get that underneath him, but he's going to lose a lot of time as a result. All the way throughout this field, you got battles trying to sort themselves out. Spencer Ray will also retire from this race. Wanting too much to play around with here as well. You're looking at the battle for 9th between Barrett Morton and Devin Purog. Just behind them, you can see Jeffrey Brogdon waiting in the wings, seeing if maybe that 11 car could try to find a way around, but so far, a lot of the battles looking to be spread out early around the Darlington Raceway as we were expecting to see. Stage lap won't be until lap 75, at which point the top 10 will get themselves their bonus points. LaFrance to the inside, he's on the move, picks up a spot from Holden McGill, move LaFrance up onto the podium. So that old Dale Jr. Budweiser machine making moves in the early goings here as he'll work into turn 1. And Morton and Purog still tucked up nose to tail. Chevy versus Toyota. This time by, Purog's got to run down the back stretch, looking to make this move down into turn 3. Sets it up, sends it in deep, and Morton lets him go. Move Purog up one more spot inside the top 10. Morton looking though like he might be looking to fight back here as he got a good drive off of turn 4 as well. Morton thought about going after Purog, but instead he has slipped back and is now at risk of falling to Jeffrey Brogdon just behind. So Brogdon starting to slide down through the field, and then even further back, Brooker trying to get up to the 45 Texaco Tabasco machine, actually. Oh, that takes me back, of Josh McDougall. Boy, those are colors I haven't seen in a hot minute, and first remember seeing that car actually when courtesy of Slap Shoes on YouTube in one of his documentaries. Well, documentaries quote unquote about the Tabasco fiasco, and that is a whole other story that is way too in-depth to get into now, but there's a story behind that paint, let me tell you what. And there's a lot of history with that one as well. Joseph and Jeffrey Souza separated still by about a quarter second, up to 3/10. Running 1-2 down the Boeing backstretch. They're still trying to pull clear of Connor LaFrance, but LaFrance is not showing signs that he's going to be backing off anytime soon. And his charge tried to go to the point as Souza going to break loose. Among others, Justin Wilson will get loose in the background as well. See as well, Connor LaFrance, he's really matching Joseph's pace, but he hasn't really been able to close on him. Which is part of what has allowed these top two to continue their run up the road in front. And that's not a gap that's going to be shrinking anytime soon as well, unless Joseph makes a mistake. Not something he has done all too often so far in the opening month of racing here. Checking in on Frank Flores, he's got the lucky draw driver Kyle Green just behind. This is a bit of a loose battle for 12th and 13th as, oh boy, Devin Purog. Oh, he's got big damage on the left-hand side, so something has happened to Purog, and that was out of turn 4. Oh, wow, hello, okay, he has found the wall somewhere. Yeah, found the wall off of turn 4, and that may very well have given him suspension damage, so we'll see, and it looks like, yes, the Mountain Dew Supra will be hitting pit road. That's already now 4 cars taking unscheduled pit stops. Not ideal for the number 36. Brooker continuing to close in on Josh McDougall just up the road in their little battle for 14th. So we're down the Boeing backstretch. You saw Nate Brooker lift just slightly when he got to the back bumper there. McDougall not off to be too aggressive right now, go to make that move. So Brooker is continuing to keep things sorted, although he has just found the outside wall. It's a very tight racetrack, and it's not something you really notice until you go in car with some of these guys about just how narrow this track surface is, although it's one of the few cases where even the TV cameras, you can tell, it's very narrow, the actual racing surface on the facility. Technically, you can go as far down as you want. There is no yellow line rule or anything here, but everybody likes to stick it up above the dashed white lines in the corners for the sole reason of banking, and that's where all the speed is. Turn 1 as well is also so different in comparison to turn 3. It's got a much tighter radius. You can rip it through turn 1 fairly comfortably at about, 150 miles an hour or so. Turn 3, you're having to check it up all the way down to, 130 or so, give or take, as we're seeing Flores and Green working through 3 and 4 right now. And it's, again, not something you really get a good perspective on until you actually go properly in car with these guys for a couple laps, and you can see the difference almost immediately. Kyle Green at the inside. Oh, scared Flores up. Flores finds the wall in turn 1, and Kyle Green is through to 11th. That got a bit dicey there for a little while as they'll work down the down that long backstretch into 3 and 4. Oh, and now McDougall into the outside wall. Loses out to Brooker. He could lose out to Purcell. Stefan Purcell been slowly reeling these guys in as well in his Havalli machine. Oh, and now McDougall loses the back end. Can he hang on? Purcell swings through, and McDougall wrestles it back, although he has lost, again, a huge chunk of time as a result. Souza's been slipping back into the clutches of Connor LaFrance as well as Joseph's long run pace has again been just extending out of the front of this field. Lap traffic, though, about to come into play. Connor LaFrance could very well put Jeffrey Souza under some pretty heavy fire for the number 2 spot. Souza goes defensive this time. And LaFrance sweeps through on the top down to the turn 3. Souza bumped back down to 3rd. A lot of the battles starting to taper off. We're looking back to Josh McDougall and Lauren McFadden running 15th and 16th on the course at the moment. They're all sitting just over 20 seconds behind Joseph, who continues to extend his race lead. Oh, big trouble, and Joseph's been taken out by the 40 car there. Yellow flag is going to be out on the speedway. As, oh boy, that is it. Game over for JoJo. And who was that? That was the 40 car Nathaniel Ames that just cleaned out the race leader. Joseph into pit road. As that is critical, and that's somehow not a caution. We'll take a look again at what the heck happened here. This is Ames. Oh, got loose off of turn 4, slammed the outside wall, rebounded down into a sitting duck of Joseph, and that cleaned the clock of the former race leader. That could take him out of the race. Right on board, he tries to go low to avoid. Wham! Just had the right front knocked out on that car. That is a heavy hit. He'll take a faster pair and get back out onto the racetrack, but now he's going to be stuck at least one lap down. Connor LaFrance now overtakes him for the lead. Right, so looking back, Morton and Brogdon run 8th and 9th as they run down through turn numbers 1 and 2, Kyle Green and Barrett Morton. Next few back as, boy, that got ugly in a hurry there on the front stretch. That's the hazard of losing the back end like that to try to swing it around. Joseph is back on the racetrack. One lap down, yes, but not out of the fight. Caution could still very well find that 20 car back onto the lead lap. Connor LaFrance and Jeffrey Souza will be running 1-2 still, separated by now 3.5 tenths of a second. Souza still trying to close, although he will find the outside wall of the Boeing backstretch out of 2. Other battles are at the track. You've got Dingler and Brannigan for 5th and 6th, and a little ways behind them, that three-way battle we were talking about before, and just behind them, Flores trying to catch Brooker for 11th. Quarter of a second, Souza trying to run him down. Looks like Souza might have just a little bit more long run pace than Connor LaFrance does, as they'll leave the front stretch into turn 1. That gap continuing to close, and this will be for the race lead as they'll work out of turn 4 down the front stretch. But that 7 car, it's never one that's easily passed. Now Holden McGill is reeled in this fight. We now have a 3-way fight for the lead. Souza tried to push hard and looking like he may have burned some of his stuff up, so now McGill trying to run him down as that 21 McGill Campers car. And is it just me? I think I've actually realized that is a cosplay of the old Furniture Row number 78, but with the text swap around along with the number. That's clever. That's clever from McGill as he'll try to run that around for 1 and 2 and still work the gap down to the likes of Jeffrey Souza. Souza again goes low. Last time I let LaFrance through. This time it'll let McGill through. Holden McGill sweeping through around the top of 3 and 4. He'll pick up second as we run down the back stretch, or the front stretch now. Dingler, Brannigan, Cherry also running line astern. Oh, and now Dingler finds the outside wall. Tell you what, that 8 car doing a good job so far, though, on hanging on to the top 5 position he's got. But the question is, how long will he be able to hang on to it, as he's going to have a charging 46 and a 48, especially if he makes a mistake like that again. Loses a huge bit of time down the front stretch as he loops it out of turn 4. Sends it in deep down into 1, and that will allow Dingler to maintain as he'll cross out of turn 2. Whoa, hang on! Look out, Brannigan sliding around, tags the inside wall. And again, no caution, too far down. As Brannigan will now slip down towards the back of the field. Unfortunate there from the number 46 as he'll lose spots. Take another look, and we'll see if he can't get a ride on board with the number 46 car. Here we go. Yep, same story as before, just loose the back end, and around she goes. Noses it into the inside wall, does a 360. Gets it back rolling. .40 laps deep, still caution free. Oh boy, now Morton getting crossed up out of turn 2, and now Kyle Green looking to attack. Green's been slowly marching his way through this field, and now could have a look for 7th. If he can just set up another good run down these straights. Riding on board with the driver of the 8, the 18. Running in 8th. Oh, here we go. That's a good run. Looks to the bottom. Attacks. Oh, puts Morton into the wall and sweeps through. I don't know if Morton will be terribly happy with that, but Robbins Racing. Overall, looks like no harm, no foul. Bear Morton not getting a lot of lasting damage from that hip check. And that again allows Brogdon to close in. sending it into turn 1. As you can see, that 11 car just behind, trying to make up some more ground as well. Oh boy, and a bit of a blink out for a moment, but overall looking steady. So a lot of the battles at the moment starting to pick up just a little bit more. This isn't the only fight that's starting to develop, as you've also got this one for the lead between Connor LaFrance and Holden McGill. Eastern Stars versus Badger Racing. Once again, ready to do battle. As Connor LaFrance works his way out of turn numbers 3 and 4. McGill is there and ready to pounce. Gap down to 2/10. McGill, ever since he got by Souza several laps ago, has been steadily closing in more and more. McGill, like Joseph, has some of the best long-run pace out there on the racetrack, which is why this is very well could be a championship that goes down between the two of them. Looking to the inside and 4. And Holden McGill now alongside with the Budweiser's number 7 Chevy Camaro and pulls clear in a 1. Solid overtake from the McGill Campers number 21. As slowing is Josh McDougall, I think, trying to let some of this lead lap traffic through. And already look at the gap that he has built up. It's over 0.4 of a second in just one lap. Trouble for Grant Peterson. Down low on the front. Caution is out. As, crash in turn 1 right in front. Matt Cherry goes around. And that will bring an abrupt end to the race. Or at least to this bout of racing. We'll jump back a ways because I feel there's a lot to unpack here. We'll start with what happened to Grant Peterson. Now, this is working out of turn 4 onto the front stretch. All by himself. I think this actually may have been one lap prior to the incident, as we'll push ahead and get a proper look. This would have been out of the final corner, though, working onto that main stretch. So here we go. Out of turn. Yep, lost the back end. Swings around and goes for a long slide. Tags the wall. Gets it rolling. And then here comes Matt Cherry. Oh, he was also slowing and just got run over by Kyle Green. And Brogdon took a hefty whack as well. Now, why was Cherry slowing? Oh, he got loose as well. And then just, man, got hooked by Kyle. That is a tough break for all involved. We're right on board with Kyle Green. I don't think he quite knew where to go. Oh, that's a hard shot as well. Several cars down and into pit road. It's a good time for this caution, right about 1/3 distance. Now, will this be an average start, or will it be cautions breed cautions? Well, we're 50 laps in, so we'll get this chance to take a step back. We will regroup and be back to to green flag racing action in just a moment. You watch the L-TAC All Street Media Cup Series on Green Flag TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Lights out, we're the iRacing pace car. We are 54 laps deep, and we'll get set to go back to racing this time by. We've seen McGill's long run pace. We'll see if he can continue to pull away on the short run. As we work out of turn numbers 3 and 4 to the front stretch. Green flags in the air, and we're back underway. McGill hightails it down and around through turn numbers 1 and 2. Brannigan, Morton, and Moore all still packed up line astern as we work down the Bowen backstretch. Under 100 laps to go. Oh, look out as the 36 of Pirog spins it around, and he's not the only one. Caution is out again as the 45 of McDougall is turned round. That time, Stefan Purcell in the 57 car getting collected. So a bit of a mess there coming around through turn numbers 3 and 4. We'll take a look back, and it started with McDougall down to the back straightaway. This all came down through turn numbers 1 and 2. Right there, saw Pirog get spun around, and then Stefan Purcell got collected with McDougall, and they just went into the outside wall. And that brings out our second caution of the evening. Still not at that point for the stage yet. We're still just under 20 laps away. This does allow for McGill, though, to lead a few more laps. So, all that said and done, we'll get a chat with the driver that one of the drivers that was knocked out early, but is back onto the racetrack now, and just trying to think regain some composure here and get himself back up and maybe get some extra points. Nathaniel Ames will join us up here now. Nathaniel, this is Noel Rampel up here in the broadcast booth. Got a copy?
I have a copy, Noel.
Well, let's kind of talk about, first off, the elephant in the room, the incident between yourself and race leader Joseph. Joseph, we saw that you looped it out of turn 4. What happened there?
Coming off turn 4, man, first of all, I got to say, this setup is loose tonight. I know everybody's been struggling with it. I definitely have. I got into the throttle too early off of 4. Tried to save it. Went the wrong way, shot myself into the wall. Once I rebounded, JoJo was expecting me to stay up, but I rebounded off and went down, and it collected him. Apologies to Joseph because that was in no way intentional, and I feel bad for wrecking the leader. I mean, I know it happens sometimes, but that's not the way you want it to happen.
Looking forward now, you're back on the racetrack, but 20 some odd laps down. What's going to be the game plan for that number 40 car throughout the remainder of tonight's race?
With how many laps I'm down, the game plan is probably just drive, learn the track, collect the points as I can. I'm sure with some tempers flaring up that some of these guys may leave early. That might help me out for a few more points, but we'll see how that goes. Still a lot of race to run.
All right, well, we'll let you get back down to work. Thank you for joining us up here tonight. Best of luck out there on the restart.
Thank you, Nolan.
Nathaniel Lame is giving some insights here. He runs way down in the number 20 spot now as we are... Oh, already starting to double it up here as we work in a 3 and 4 this time by Holden McGill, Conor LaFrance, Jeffrey Souza, Ryan Dingler, Grant Peterson. All remain packed up. Kyle Green, your lucky draw driver, is now down 3 spots. He's down to 16th, and that came after a pit stop runs onto our first caution about 6 laps ago. So far from South Carolina, the strategy so far tonight has seemed to have been survival for a lot of these guys. There hasn't been too much in the way of on-track overtakes. These guys have been looking to just log as many laps as they can and try to keep the tires in check. That's often the case, though, when you get down to Darlington. It is such a it's such an abrasive racetrack that just chews up tires, especially since you're practically power sliding these cars throughout a majority of the corner here. It's very easy to step the back end out, especially when the surface is as cold as it is. And that's not going to get any better either, as we'll be driving way into the dusk. iRacing pace car will be in this time by as we stack them up, double them up, and get ready to get back to racing action with 91 laps left to go. Green flag is back up and into the air. Holden McGill on a launch as we rocket away down into turn number 1. Outside lanes pulling strong. Dingler gets around Peterson for 4th. As we thunder down the back straightaway, McDougall collects the wall. Almost 3 wide down the backstretch into turn numbers 3 and 4. We are 3 wide, and Flores gets turned into the outside wall, rebounds down in the Pirog, saves it. Dingler forced to come to pit road. We saved the wreck up front, and Conor LaFrance breaks around Holden McGill for the lead. And this is how this move was made, as he got a run out of turn 4 and just licked the stamp and sent it down into turn 1. 3 wide, 4 wide for a brief moment in the back straightaway, as now Bear Morton getting swamped. Loses out in a huge chunk of positions as we fire it off of turn number 2 down the back straightaway. So again, these guys just do not know when to chill. Take a look at this chaos on the back straightaway as Baron Morton gets loose. Starts to stack up the field and then heads up. Look at this. 4 wide through the backstretch down to the turn numbers 3 and 4. 4 wide, not something you very often see at the Darlington Raceway, and usually something that doesn't work anywhere, let alone here. But hey, they made it work. Deal, Cherry, Brooker, Gassione, all tucked up, line of stern. Look out as, whoa, way to the bottom goes Ryan Dingler. And excuse me, is Dingler actually exiting pit road after having to serve his penalty? Sean Deal still being put under some pretty heavy fire at the moment by the likes of Matt Cherry. Cherry trying to establish a run down into turns 1 and 2. Makes the look to the inside mid-corner, and Cherry sweeps through. Cherry is in, and he's not the only one making moves as Gassion takes to the inside of Brooker. It's that number 5, Eastern Stars Motorsports Camaro, starting to try to pick up some ground as well. And that comes after Gassion himself found the inside wall early on. All the while, Grant Peterson and now the 46 of Mark Brannigan Jr. starting to go at it. Brannigan to the bottom, down in the turn 1. Can he make the move on the High Rock Supra? Answer, no. Grant Peterson remains tucked up line astern, and Joseph now throwing his hat in the ring. Breaks by the both of them. Jojo, remember, wrecked with Ames early on. Now he is up onto the lead lap and trying to get back up to the front. While Brannigan and Peterson leaning on each other's doors. '52 car. Still working the top. Brannigan down low. Peterson is not letting Mark Brannigan Jr. go here at all. He is making this as difficult as possible. Oh, and it's going to result in contact. They both go up into the wall. Caution is out. Big trouble for Grant Peterson as he's been spun around as he got drilled. I believe possibly by Matt Cherry, who's got a lot of damage. Boy, that was only going to end one way. There's been a lot of animosity this season between Badger Racing and Eastern Stars Motorsports and all of their drivers, and it just came to a head again on the front. Take a look as this is off turn number 4. They just hooked together, go into the wall. Peterson goes down right across the nose of Matt Cherry, who had nowhere to go. That's a tough one as well to see who's, if anybody, is really at fault here. Was Brannigan pushing up? Was Peterson pinching down? Was it a bit of both, perhaps? Right on board first with Brannigan. Well, Brannigan's keeping it pretty far down there, and all of a sudden the car just goes straight. He's going to back it into the inside wall, and this was on board with Grant Peterson. Peterson doing a bit of pinching and hook it to the outside wall. Watch the mirror here. Oh! And then on board with Cherry, who was right behind the mess. Tried to throttle it up to get through, and it didn't work. Take a look at the lap or so leading up to this whole mess as this was working down right there. I mean, Brannigan kind of does move Grant out of the way. This is out of turn 4 the last time by. So I think they made a bit of contact there, and I think Grant may have felt like he was wronged by Mark Brannigan Jr. there when he tried to move Grant out of the way, give him a bit of a rub in the left rear. I may be wrong on that, though. It's a tough angle to determine from. And then you see all the pinching that's going on down in the turns 1 and 2, and then it just continues as Brannigan's going to lunge it into 3 and 4. He is there, though. And at that point, oh, I don't know. It is such a tough call to make when you're in a situation like that. I mean, how do you make that kind of judgment? I still want to see if there was any sort of contact leading up to this. So let's get another look at this one again. Down in the 3 and 4. Right on board. I don't think he touched him. I think Grant may have thought he did. That or potentially maybe a bit of netcode, but I think there would have been a lot more dramatic of an impact if it was that. That's a tough break, though. That is, man, that's rough. Down to 15 cars on the lead lap. Connor LaFrance now with the race lead after he took it away from Holden McGill. Joseph back up to third. We could see JoJo quickly break by LaFrance here. We'll be restarting this race with, I believe, 3 laps left in the stage as well, so the aggression is about to ramp up. Lights are out aboard the iRacing pace car, and we'll get set to go back to green flag racing this time by. We'll enter turn numbers 3 and 4 this time by. 3.9 miles of racing left in stage 1. I have a feeling it'll be either LaFrance or JoJo who will take the stage win. Coming around. The 7 car into the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air. Sure enough, the 7 and the 20 jumping their start, timing their start perfectly as they rocket away into 1 and 2. Funneling down the backstretch and now into turn numbers 3 and 4. JoJo looking for the bottom this time by. Here we go. Going for the lead. Contact between the teammates. LaFrance pulls clear. And there's been some kind of melee in the background. A lot of cars losing a lot of time. We'll get back to all of that in just a moment as 2 laps to go. And JoJo has now lost almost all of his time up to Connor LaFrance. Diving through 3 and 4. 1 lap to go in stage number 1. Connor LaFrance putting down the fastest lap of the race so far, a 29.29. That last time by. Thundering into 3 and 4. Joseph can't close the gap. Connor LaFrance out of the final corner. He takes the stage win from the Darlington Raceway. Oh, and behind McDougal spins hard into the inside wall. Big time crash for the 45. Keeps it rolling though. And we'll stay green. Joseph now side by side with LaFrance with the lead as they'll take it away into 3 and 4. Deal and Souza now packed up line astern as we thunder into turns 1 and 2. Man, aggression again picking up from the Darlington Raceway. Here's what happened into this was working the backstretch. This is all going to be down to see what happened in 3 and 4. Oh, Brannigan hooked into Flores and into the outside wall. So that's why Brannigan is now in a pit row because of that hard hit. McDougal's down to the pit road, effectively out. And the rest of the racing action continues. They're looking at Nate Brooker leading this pack from 6th place all the way back to about 11th with Jeffrey Brogdon. And of course, you got 1 and 2 lap cars in the mix here as well. Grant Peterson brings up the rear. Line of stern snaking across the Bowen backstretch. Souza trying to make up some more ground as he'll look to the inside of Deal and try to pick up 7 through 3 and 4. Tucks in between the 3 and the 44. Jeffrey Souza on the move. He'll now have to try to size up Nate Brooker. Sean Deal in the meantime just behind. Also starting to get tucked up into the fray. Souza has got the run on Brooker and he'll try to go for another one. Couldn't get to the inside though this time, buying a 1 and 2. Almost got run over by Deal. But Sean doing a fine job in his B&H car of checking it up. How about Cherry looking to make moves? Dives to the bottom of 3 and 4 to get around Deal, putting Deal down to 9th. And the 44 car now trying to work around the outside line this time around and can't get there. So Cherry tucked up line of stern. Souza with more moves as Josh McDougal back onto the racetrack. I think he'll have to come to pit road pretty quickly, though. In fact, he will. Oh, and now Souza sideways. Slam into the inside wall. No yellow yet. Back up to the top. Broken left front, though. Watch out as he'll drift up into traffic. Trying to keep speed up, and you know what? Souza's doing a good job on keeping that speed up so he's not a hazard to the cars behind. But that is definitely going to be a drive to pit road. As you can tell, that toe is knocked out on the 14. Well, he's going to keep it out for now, so we'll monitor that situation as Morton and Brooker now packed up for 5th and 6th. Cars dropping like flies all of a sudden as there goes Pirog again. Slams the outside wall. Pirog, I think, will manage to recover, and Souza, I think, now hitting pit road. Realizing just how bad the damage on that 14 car is. So Souza in a pit road, Mortensen, Brooker, and Cherry now effectively the 3 cars in this giant train as everybody else starting to slip back. Well past the halfway mark in this race as well. This has been intense to say the very least over the last several laps. Spearcrest Digital Chevy Camaro still running strong with Nate Brooker just tucked in behind. Bit of a bumper that time to the back end of Morton as Brooker trying to establish a run. Make that look. Not to the inside this time as Matt Cherry now down to the bottom. Oh, and now tracking up Brooker into the wall with contact. Grant Peterson lap down trying to find his way through with that little hip check into the wall. More battles than I'd like to admit come to a conclusion in that sort of manner as Brooker into the wall again. This time with a let deal through, and looks like that'll stop the bleeding then with Brooker sliding back down to 7th. Well, maybe not. Sean Deal got loose and lost time, so Brooker will maintain the number 7 spot. Connor LaFrance and Holden McGill remain in 2nd and 3rd. They're separated by half a second right now as we run down into turns 3 and 4. Well, LaFrance not doing a bad job on keeping where he's at. Holden McGill still doing that chasing, but I don't think we're going to be seeing the pace from McGill kick in until about lap 100, give or take. That's when we'll really start to see that long run pace come into play. Cherry looking low, Morton carrying around the outside, and now Peterson's caught the 84. Remember, Grant Peterson a lap down trying to find his way around all of this. Peterson's been doing an all right job, though. He's been very patient so far in getting around these lap cars. He's been waiting more for them to make mistakes than trying to force the issue. Which, that's all right. I mean, he can even try to fight them if he wants, but it's not advised. There are a few drivers that got bopped last week. Matt Cherry among them for battling and impeding lead lap traffic. And then, of course, Cherry found himself disqualified after being found guilty of that intent wreck for that NASCAR Turn 4 incident with Kyle Green. So Cherry has not had the ideal last week or so. Doing a good job, though, on redemption so far. He's been running 6th, and so far has been keeping him more or less out of trouble. He's been involved in a few scrapes so far, but I think the same can be said for pretty much everybody in the field at the moment. McGill starting to turn on that long run pace we were alluding to earlier as he is reeling in Connor LaFrance. Good stuff so far from the 21 car as it's tucked up right behind that 7 car, and we could again see an exchange for the number 2 spot in just a little while. Again, you hear those tires working against the asphalt and a bit of an awkward line out of turn 2. We'll see him only lose time down the Bowie backstretch. You can tell overall, though, it's looking solid as Jeffrey Brogdon having problems? Question mark? Let's take a look. Number 1 and 2. Well, that'll be why. Blinked out. No damage, though, on the number 11 car. Morton, Cherry, Brooker, Deal. All running line astern as they work down into towards turn 1. And then on the opposite end of the racetrack, McGill versus LaFrance starting to kick off. Approaching 50 laps to go, so we're starting to enter the final phases here of this race. Got this big battle pack starting to pick up as well as Matt Cherry to the inside of Bear Morton gets around the Spearcrest Digital Camaro. Morton trying to fight back as Cherry puts himself into the wall. That could spell trouble. Look out, Brooker going around. Sean Deal going around. Whole host of cars having trouble on the front stretch here. Looking though like we have just barely managed to get around all of that as Ryan Dingler having some pretty hefty problems and that car's broke. Boy, oh boy. So let the chaos ensue as this all... Well, this was several laps ago, my apologies. This all kicks off, though, on the front stretch. On the exit of turn 4. Watch as Morton is going to stack up the field. Gets up and into the outside wall. Morton slides down. Dingler got put into the outside wall. Bear Morton did a phenomenal job to hang on to that car. Take a look on board with number 9. Oh boy. Doesn't get much closer than that. Second and third continuing to scrap it out. You've got Matt Cherry and Nate Brooker meanwhile. Oh, and Cherry again bodies the outside wall. Trying to keep it in front of the number 3 car. Kyle Green's in a pit road. Brogdon's in a pit road. Throughout the chaos, LaFrance lost the second spot to Holden McGill. This is how that pass happened out of turn 4. Just a good drive down the front stretch and into turn 1. But McGill now has to work up 4.9 seconds in under 50 laps if he wants to take the race lead away. That's a tall order. Matt Cherry now runs up with Nate Brooker, and they're going to fight it out for 5th. Joseph will now hit pit road, so pit stop starting to kick off, and this is going to be around that realm where you pit now, you're good to go to the end, so that's why we're seeing some of these drivers opting to just stop now. They want to make sure that they're going to be in good straights when we get down to the end of this race. Now, Joseph is taking the strategy of pit early, build up a huge gap, and then rocket away for the field and just let the gap run down. McGill, as always, taking a strategy of try to pit a bit later and then have fresh tires. You have a lot more pace than your opponents in the closing runs. So Gassion is into the lane. Will McGill take it to this pit road this time, or will he stay out? Connor LaFrance is in, just behind. And McGill's staying out, one more. Meanwhile, Cherry and Brooker now scrapping it out for 3rd, and they'll end up becoming 2nd, and that's for on-track position, not net position, as they're going to cycle back out when they eventually come to pit road. They're still having a heck of a wallop here for their own little battle. Brooker's not letting Cherry go here, and they remain now the lone 2 drivers after that giant melee on the front stretch. And again, didn't see anybody slow down enough to cause a caution. And Cherry slowing up, trying to make pit road. He's not going to make it, though, into hot, Dan. He'll have to take another lap around. That is detrimental for Matt Cherry, and he has just lost several seconds because of that blunder. That is a huge tactical error on behalf of the 84 MPI Badger Racing Camaro. Wasn't even close to making that. Here he goes. If you want to really start pitting, you got to pit down in turn 3. The general rule of thumb, you see that yellow line that's out there? If you're not on the left of that line, you're not making pit road. Brooker's in as well, just in front. That knocks out Cherry's undercut strategy. He was going to try to undercut the British Bomber, but instead gave away his strategy and allowed Brooker to cover him off. Man, that's a huge error. Holden McGill continues to lead the way. He is one of the last drivers we're waiting on to stop this run. Although he is still showing no signs of coming down to pit anytime soon. Want to once again thank Allstream Media for being the title sponsor in the L-TAC Allstream Media Cup Series. Allstream Media is a small platform specializing in photography and live streaming, mainly focused around no-prep drag racing, and soon will expand to dirt racing, NASCAR, superbike racing, and more. Their mission is to provide smaller racing venues with the opportunity for public exposure and to help keep small-town racing circuits and also small-town drivers doing the things they love. Find out more by visiting them on their Facebook page. Link to that is in the description below. Under 40 laps to go from the Darlington Raceway and the Palmetto 200. We're going to take a step back. You won't miss a lap as green flag pit stops are underway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Green Flag TV and to the Palmetto 200 in the L-TAC All-Stream Media Cup Series in the Darlington Raceway. Jeffrey Souza being put under fire by Nathan Brooker for 8th as we work out of turn number 4 down the front straightaway. And in the moment, that number 3 car looking like he wants to make his move up into some more big positions. You've already seen a big chunk of the field, pretty much everybody. Barbera Morton come down pit road. And Souza ducking to the inside, expected him to let Brooker through here into turn number 3. Sure enough, breaks a bit earlier, and that 3 car fires it around the outside. Brooker will be through and into the 8th spot. Now, will he do the same for Kyle Green, who has started to apply the pressure as well? Souza looking like he could be slipping back to 10th here before too long, and sure enough, makes the same move, ducks down low and allows him through. That was into turn 1. Elsewhere on the race course, Stefan Purcell keeping Conor LaFrance behind. Purcell, also a driver, actually still waiting out of pits, so this is not going to be a fight for on-track position, but LaFrance going to have to fight his way by regardless, and it'll be an easy pass for Conor LaFrance to pick up 3rd down into turn 3. I think in the moment, Morton and Purcell trying to wait out for a caution and see if one's going to come about, but Purcell getting a bit loose. That's always the challenge with waiting for a caution, especially if you're in a bad spot on old tires. You want a caution. You don't want to be the caution. There is a very distinct difference. As Souza continuing to slip down. And in fact, Souza also will have to come down one more time, I believe. He last pit on lap 85, it's showing. So, not entirely ideal then for Souza. Big question right now is where is Holden McGill in relation to Joseph Joseph? Now remember, McGill pitted several laps later than Joseph and does sit 16 seconds almost behind the number 20 car, but will have fresher tires. I don't think it's enough, though, to reel in that giant of a gap in such a short amount of time. Joseph being held up here. Frank Flores gets into the wall. And not looking like he wants to be letting that 20 car through all that much. Jojo to the inside, dives at the inside and laps Frank Flores. Now trying to overtake Bear Morton for the on-track race lead. Sweeps to the inside of Spear Crest Digital Camaro. Oh, contact! And almost around again. It would have been the second time Joseph came together with traffic on the front stretch. And this time, no fast repair to save him. Looks low, ducks back high, and sweeps through around the top side to take the lead. You want to talk about getting aggressive? Well, that's how you get it done. Take a look at how this panned out as this was working down through turn 4, on board with the 20. Gets him alongside the 9. Small hip check there. You see where they got hooked together. Did a good job, though, to recover from that. And then when he sees the inside's going to be covered off, he's going to sweep to the top. Opens up the door and says, see you later. That allows him now already almost 2 seconds into the lead. Now, that could be game over unless we get another late race caution. Kyle Green and Matt Cherry are packed up line astern. Is this the battle for ninth, working down the back stretch and into turn 3? All-over battles are starting to pick up throughout the racetrack as drivers on newer tires start to catch those with hold. As McGill continues his charge of the field, he breaks clear of Austin Gassion. That was for 4th. McGill at the moment running with good 11-lap pressure tires than Joseph. Now, that's not a small margin. I'm just not sure if it's enough to catch him. Let's compare the lap times between the two of them. You can already see how much that gap has been starting to come down. I mean, what he's reeled in a good chunk on lap 127, although I'm not sure if that's it's definitely come down a bit more, and you can tell that is whenever Holden McGill is catching up to traffic. And I think right now, traffic management, that's what's key for McGill. If he can get into clean air, he could run him down yet. I'm not sure, though, if he'll be able to actually fully secure. He's now caught his teammate, Connor LaFrance. And he'll have to make that look for 3rd. Bear Morton and Stefan Brissell both still have yet to stop. And McGill even starting to back up. He might be trying to size up an overtake on LaFrance, trying to get it done in like a one-and-done deal instead of having to kind of fight for several laps at a time, which would only slow him down even more. Sure enough, there he goes. Look at how much he closes in 4. Immediately looks to the inside, but it won't be enough. Souza letting these guys through on the bottom. And we'll let Sean Gill through as a result as well. As it stands, these two are the closest pair on the racetrack. Oh, and a loose moment there as well for Holden McGill. He's getting impatient, you can tell. He's weaving around, trying to find a way through. He's saying, let me go. I'm faster than you. They're fighting for position. LaFrance is allowed to battle as hard as he wants. Down to the apron goes Holden McGill, sweeps the inside in 3 and 4, and he'll try to secure this time by, but LaFrance with a drive on corner exit. And again, clears and immediately covers. Now catching Nathaniel Ames. Driver that's had his fair share of problems as Ames way down low saves it. Bear Morton will duck out. It looks like he's going to pit road. McGill again attacking down in the turn 3. This time LaFrance into the wall. And that gives McGill the run he needs to finally clear. He's up now to 3rd. But is it too little too late? That'll be 2nd now, actually, excuse me, with Morton having taken it to pit road. That might be too late, though. I think LaFrance did his job of holding McGill up. And it's a losing battle now. Other battles on the racetrack include Nate Brooker and Jeffrey Brogdon, separated by 0.6 of a second. You've got Kyle Green and Matt Cherry, separated by 0.4 of a second. All the while, the race leader, Joseph sitting with a 13-second gap. Well clear of this field with 12 laps to go. At this point, McGill has to close in over a second a lap if he is to catch that number 20. Or we get a late race yellow. One of the two, and at this point, the yellow is more likely to happen because McGill just cannot reel in enough to get around Joseph. LaFrance, look at it. He may have burned his equipment up too as Austin Gassion starting to close into the number 5 car from just behind. That gap down to about a second. This will be the last race throughout October. As we will look to the likes of Michigan, Milwaukee, and Kansas, and we have a 1-week break for Thanksgiving. That comes up throughout the month of November. And we'll return with Talladega to kick off December afterwards. There's a lot coming on up here for the L-TAC All-Stream Media Cup Series to get excited about. Michigan International Speedway, one of the tracks of the series that has well been a favorite, and it has never delivered a dull race. You go to Michigan, you know you're in for a good time. The first race ever that was held there back in 2020 for the season opener was the mother of all fuel mileage races, with the top 3 all running out of fuel on the final lap in 4th place, having taken a splash and go, charging around a lot of them to take up the race win. And we're talking, he was on the back stretch and in 4th, and he left turn 4 and crossed and overtook the race leader mere feet before the start-finish line. Nate Brooker and Stefan Purcell do battling down in the 3 and 4. Now LaFrance and Gassion still trying to battle themselves, but they've got Grant Peterson in the middle of them. We're now under 10 to go. Hendrick Chevy Camaro trying to get to the inside of Peterson, does so, and now breaks clear. It's up the road, Purcell and Brogdon side by side again for 6th. 11 breaks clear the 57 and spells an end to that little fight for the first spot outside the top 5. Now, what about further back with Kyle Green and Matt Cherry? 2 drivers that, if you watched last week's race, have history. Cherry was holding it up Kyle Green at the Roval. Green didn't appreciate that. Moved Cherry out of the way. Cherry retaliated, got himself disqualified post-race for that. They've kept it clean so far, though, and not showing like they're going to be having any more squabbles throughout the course of the night, unless something really develops in these next 4 laps or so. Now, that is a battle for position, which means they do not have to let the likes of LaFrance or Gassion through, which is going to pose a challenge to the 7 and the 5. We're going to have to try to find their way around then the hard way. And now Purcell getting collected. Look out, going around almost. LaFrance turned into the wall. As the battle comes to blows, Gassion gets by for 3rd. And that was a combination of a whole bunch of cars on different speeds coming together at the same point on the racetrack in an ugly manner. 3 to go. Boy, again, it gets ugly out in corner exit at tracks like this. That's just everybody on a different strategy. Tell you what, though, Joseph has been in control of the race ever since the latest round of pit stops. And he will now get set to work his way around and start the final lap. He's got Baron Morton right in front of him that he might put down a second lap here before this race's conclusion. Officially, the white flag waves, and this race is now going to be official. JoJo's got enough time to burn. He doesn't have to lap Morton if he doesn't want to. He'll take it down in the 3 and 4. Chalk up another one in the win column for the Eastern Stars Motorsports number 20 car as Joseph powers out of the final turn. He wins the Palmetto 200 from the Darlington Raceway. Check back in on the battle for 7th on back. Working around to start finish this time by. Will we see any changes for position? A look. Not going to get there though. Cherry Roll will hang on to 7th. As one by one, drivers will work their way across the line. And it will be the number 20 car burning it down on the front stretch. We'll show you your official post-race results for the Palmetto 200 for the Darlington Raceway, as it was the likes of Joseph taking the race win. Holden McGill picks up 2nd. Austin Gassion will bring it home in 3rd. Connor LaFrance, the last car on the lead lap. Nate Brooker was in 5th, with Jeffrey Brogdon in 6th, Matt Cherry 7th, Sean Gill 8th, Stephen Purcell in 9th, Kyle Green rounds up the top 10. Jeffrey Souza was in 11th, with Bear Morton in 12th. Frank Flores was in 13th, Grant Peterson and Devin Pirog 14th and 15th. Nathaniel Ames was the last driver that finished this race down in 16th. There, you had the likes of Josh McDougall, Ryan Dingler, Mark Brannigan Jr., Lauren McFadden, Spencer Ray, Jerry Bergeron, Aaron Bradford did not make the start here tonight. So that is it then. All drivers across the line. We will get the chance to speak to some of the guys at the end of this race, and of course, as always, we'll get to kick it off with the likes of Joseph, the driver that takes home the race win at the end of the night, as the number 20 car going to join us trackside. As well, boy, it was another race win on the day for you, JoJo, but again, this one didn't come easily. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, that incident early with Nathaniel Ames. What kind of went through the head when that sent you a lap down?
Yeah, I was a bit frustrated there. I mean, I was like set sailing. I would just save tires, and I just started pulling away, and I saw it happening. I saw him hit the wall, and I checked up so much, and then I went low because I thought I cleared it, but then he came back down. So I broke the tire link, went a lap down. I was pretty confident if it went green, I might have been actually able to unlap myself and still win. I was running like a second, like 7/10 faster still, despite that, so it might have been possible, but I got saved when we got the caution and I got my lap back, so it was much easier from there.
Looking through the race as a whole, it was definitely one that came down to strategy, as Darlington races so often do. What contributed to you going for that undercut strategy as opposed to the overcut like so many others?
Well, I was coming up to lap cars again, and I was scared, so when I got to them, I just pitted. It was around the number I was looking for anyways. It was like halfway in the run, so I just pitted before I got to them to get as clean a track as possible.
Fair enough. Looking forward to Michigan International Speedway 1 week from now to kick off November. It's a very high-speed track, very draft-dependent. What can we expect to see from you and the rest of the ESM crew when we roll on up to the Great North?
It's definitely draft heavy. It's very loose, honestly, the setup, and you got to be really tough on the tires. So I'm probably just gonna chill a bit and save my tires, and then move forward later in the run.
Well, if it's of any consolation today, Nathaniel Ames has apologized earlier in the race on air as well. So there's that going into next week as well. Thanks for joining us up here tonight, Joseph. We'll wish you the best of luck next week.
Yep, thank you.
That was the driver, the number 20, joining us up here from Victory Lane. We'll see if we can't get in touch with the second place runner here. Holden McGill will join us up with the broadcast booth next, as the driver, the 21, will be standing by now in the number 2 spot. Holden, you take this one home. You close out this race in second tonight. Overall, I would still say a solid result considering all the trials and tribulations that you had to go through up and down throughout tonight.
Yeah, I'll take it. JJ's just got this place figured out a lot better than I do, so good for him.
Kind of walk us through the race as a whole. A lot of drivers were complaining early on in practice about how loose the setup was tonight. How were you able to manage that at that number 21?
Sorry. Felt like we were just running at 50 to 75% the whole time, just to try not to wreck, try to keep the tires under it, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Looking forward now to the Michigan International Speedway, it could be a track where, much like Daytona, how the teammates can work the draft could be a big deciding factor in how that race is going to pan out. What's the game plan then for the Badger Racing camp?
Honestly, it's too early to tell.
Well, fair enough. We'll let you get back to celebrating. Congratulations on the second place. Best of luck next week.
Thanks, bud. We'll see you Tuesday.
That was Holden McGill joining us up in the number 2 spot, and we'll roll on down to Austin Gassione, the driver that finishes third place on the podium here tonight. And Austin, for you, you also had several run-ins with a lot of drivers over the course of the evening. That car's got a few battle scars on it, but still you managed to wrangle it home to a podium.
Yeah. I don't know how, but I knew the speed was there. I knew our team all had speed, which sucks for Mark and Connor. But to start the race, I made a stupid mental mistake and spun out, and after that, I was just mad at myself all race long. And to come back and finish P3, I'm happy, but I'm also gutted for Connor because those lap cars.
We look forward, obviously, throughout the course of the race, and it was a tough race. It was a race on strategy. You were among some of the others that pitted early on with Joseph. Although Holden McGill was really looking to run you down, what was going to be the game plan when that 21 car came flying up on your back bumper?
Honestly, I thought me and Holden had similar pace, but because I shot the trigger early, I honestly didn't realize that Joseph was 8 seconds ahead. I don't know what I was doing. I was just so focused that I didn't realize he was 8 seconds ahead, and I wanted to go for the race win. But obviously he was too far ahead. And then when I realized that Holden had, I think 10, 12 lap fresher tires, I was just hoping for the best, hoping to run the fastest times I could, save my tires, and just when it got to me, hopefully have some left. But he was too fast in the fresh tires.
And looking forward now to Michigan 1 week from now, could we potentially see that Hendrick Chevrolet up and onto victory lane at the end of another 200-mile race next week?
I hope so. I like Michigan. I usually have some good races there, and especially with the drivers in here, they put on a great show, and they're always fun to drive. So hoping for a good finish, hopefully another top 5, but ultimately we want the win.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck then when we go racing next week. Congratulations on the race win tonight, and we'll see you once again when we roll on up to the Michigan International Speedway.
Thank you, buddy.
That was the driver, the number 5, joining us up in victory lane, and that is going to be it then for our show here tonight. Again, another wild race that we've had here tonight in the L-TAC All-Street Media Cup Series. When we return to Green Flag TV, it'll be on Monday night when the High Tide Racing League MF Designs Cup Series gets set to kick off. The first race, it'll be on Tuesday. HRL taking a week off this week. OMS Pro Xfinity Series will have their season finale. They'll be rolling out to the Auto Club Speedway over in Fontana 1 week, just days actually from now. You can tune into the finale of what should be a wild final race on Halloween when we go racing at 8:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Tuesday. That and more coming on up on Green Flag TV. Thank you for joining us here tonight. My name is Will Renfro, bringing you all of the action for the L-TAC All-Stream Media Cup Series on Green Flag TV. We'll see you all next week in Michigan.